Hey guys! Today we're going to be taking a look at the Timbuk2 Curator laptop backpack, which is a really interesting 20-liter everyday bag. And on the channel, I've looked at a ton of different bags from Timbuk2 in the past. I'm a big fan of the quality, aesthetic, and features that they offer. And somebody in the comments for one of my prior videos asked me to review the Curator backpack, and I wasn't too familiar with it, but after doing a little bit of research, I was very curious to check it out. So I've been using it for the past couple of weeks, and so far it's been a pretty good experience. The bag has a really nice and interesting organizational layout, a unique aesthetic, it has a solid build quality. There are a few things that keep it from being a truly great everyday bag, but it's still a pretty solid option. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the outside of the bag, I really like the overall aesthetic. This definitely has a pretty unique look in my opinion. It's not quite as minimal as a lot of the other Timbuk2 bags that we've looked at on the channel. It has a lot going on as far as zippers and pockets and straps, but I like the combination that this gives the bag. It just feels like it's gonna blend in well into a ton of different environments still, whether you're walking around the city or taking this into the office. And then I really like the unique color combinations that are offered for the Curator backpack in particular. The version that I have here is called Latte, so it has kind of a brownish color here at the bottom, and it's mixed with something that looks to be like a baby blue or a gray, so just really interesting mixtures. And then there's a lot of other color combinations that you can check out on Amazon or Timbuk2's site. And then as far as the materials, the bag is made out of a 900D polyester that feels pretty durable and like it's gonna hold up well to rougher usage. And then it also feels like it's gonna offer a nice amount of weather resistance. And then the bag also has YKK zippers all throughout. And there's an interesting mixture of zippers here. So some of the compartments have these zippers that have these sort of exposed teeth, which I've mentioned in a few other videos I'm not a huge fan of, as to me, they just don't open and close as smoothly as normal style zippers, and they just feel like they're a little bit more exposed, but for the most part, they've worked really well here, and they feel like they're gonna offer a decent amount of protection. And then continuing along the outside of the bag, I was happy to see that there are two external water bottle pockets, which is always really nice. Currently what I have in here is the 20-ounce water bottle that you've seen in a lot of my other daily bag videos, and that fit in there really comfortably. The compartment itself offers a nice amount of space, and it does have some elasticity here that has a little elastic band that allows this to come out, but I did notice that the bottle will take up some volume from the main area, so it doesn't come out as much as I would have liked. And if you place something thicker in here, there is probably gonna be some bulging on the inside. So just something to keep in mind, but still nice to have one of these on each side so that you can put something like an umbrella or maybe something like a tripod. At the top of the bag, you also have a very nice handle that has a thick sort of seatbelt-like material. I really love how this feels for picking the bag up and down, even when it's a little bit more packed out. And then the last thing I'll mention on the front is that you have the Timbuk2 logo, and it has this little loop here that's gonna be a great spot for maybe attaching something like a bike light or an additional accessory with a carabiner. And then moving into the capacity, the bag comes in at about 20 liters, which is a really great daily bag size. In my opinion, I was easily able to fit all the items that I normally like to carry with me, and I still had some leftover space if I wanted to take something like a lunchbox or a change of gym clothes. And I really liked that even when the bag was a little bit more packed out, it never got super bulky, and it maintained a slim silhouette, making it great for navigating crowded areas or jumping onto public transit. And then moving into the straps and the back paneling, this is the area of the bag that I struggled with the most. I really just didn't like how the straps were implemented here. They're really thin and they don't have much padding. On the inside, there's no sort of meshy material to help prevent moisture from building up. And they're also really narrow, so when the bag was a little bit more packed out, I did start to notice some fatigue on my shoulders as I walked around throughout the day. And then on top of that, there is no adjustable or removable sternum strap or the ability to add one, which wouldn't be a huge deal for a bag of this size, but considering how thin the straps are, it just would have been nice to have some additional help with managing the weight. And then moving into the back paneling, this has been a little bit more comfortable, but again, not super padded. There is some padding here a little bit, but there's no sort of meshy material here to help prevent moisture from building up. There's not a whole lot of elevation to create any air channels, so I did notice that my back would tend to get pretty sweaty while I was wearing this. And then the last thing I'll mention while we're on the back paneling is that you do have this little hidden zippered compartment here for anything a little bit more sensitive that you want to keep protected from pickpockets. So opening this up, what I was able to fit in here was my Bellroy card sleeve, which is a really slim wallet, and even something like this was a little bit of a tight fit, so it's nice to have this hidden area here, but I do wish that it had been just a little bit taller and larger to make it easy to store something like a passport. And then jumping into the organizational options, this in my opinion is where the bag really shines. I really love all the pocketing that's been included here. It's very intelligently laid out, and I love just how many different options there are to keep your stuff easily accessible. So jumping in, the first one that we're gonna take a look at is this compartment at the top, which is actually secured with the two buckles that you see here. And these buckles are really nice and easy to open. So this compartment isn't quick access per se, because you do have to loosen both buckles to be able to get inside, but I like the look that it gives the bag, and it does help keep this compartment not only secure, but it provides some adjustability if you want to put something a little bit larger in it. And so this is just a very simple compartment on the inside, no sort of internal organization, but a nice amount of volume for anything bulkier that you need to store. And so currently what I have in here is my BluePop portable Bluetooth speaker and power bank, and then I also have a simple deck of cards. And then the last thing that I have in here is just a simple lightning cable to charge my phone and my iPad. Moving down along the front of the bag, you have this nice kind of pencil-shaped compartment here in the middle, and I really like how much volume this offers. And so this has a very easy to access zipper. You can open this up for anything that you want to grab quickly. And because it has enough volume, what I threw in here was my Ray-Ban sunglasses with their case. And then on the inside of this compartment, you also have a really nice lanyard that has a pretty decent length, and then a nice plastic clip at the end that you can use to attach your keys or something like a multi-tool, which is what I currently have here. And then down at the bottom, you have one additional zippered compartment. This one's a little bit larger than the one above it, and it also has some nice internal organization. So opening this up, again, just a nice amount of volume for anything larger that you need to place inside of this area. So at the front, because there was so much leftover space, I just tossed in my MacBook Pro charger and cable. And then on the back of the compartment, you have a series of slip pockets. So starting on the left, you have just a large one here on the back that's gonna be big enough to hold something like my GoPro Hero 3 Plus, but this would have been a nice spot to put maybe something like a portable battery or hard drive. And then on the front of that, you have a more kind of elastic slip pocket. So I really like having the variety here, but I was only able to use one because I put something so bulky in here. It's tough because these sort of share volume, so you can kind of pick and choose which one works best for you. And then next to that, you have some smaller slots that are gonna be great for holding thinner items. So what I currently have in here is a simple nail clipper on the slip pocket on the front, but then you also have an additional one behind that where I chose to store a little stylus that I like to carry with me. And then all the way on the right, you have another slip pocket. This one's a little bit smaller than the one on the left, and this is gonna be a great spot for storing something like my Apple Magic Mouse. That fit in there really comfortably. And then it has a similar layout where you have kind of the one slip pocket on the back and then an elastic one on the front. So just really love all the options provided here for keeping your stuff just kind of organized and preventing this all from becoming sort of a mess as you're running around throughout the day. And then the last area that we're gonna take a look at is the main compartment. And so this is a top loading bag, but I like that the zippers come down enough to allow you to open this up pretty wide to easily see everything that's in the main area. And again, this is a 20-liter bag, but I was impressed with just how much space it had. Even when I packed it out with some of these bulkier items, there was still some leftover capacity near the top. So just a really versatile size, especially considering the fact that the bag just doesn't look that big. And so jumping in, the first thing that I have here is my Beats Studio wireless headphones. And then down at the bottom, I have a few pouches. So the first one here is a little Max Edition pouch that has some of my EDC items. And then next to that, I have my Bellroy Classic pouch that has some of my dongles and other tech accessories. And then moving down further on the bottom, I also have a full-size Moleskine notebook. And then the last thing that I have in here is my Levitate portable standing desk, which fits in there really comfortably. And so now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside, and I really like just how much this comes up. It's really what helps this hold bulkier items really well. A very simple layout, no sort of internal organization. And of course, with a compartment like this, I always want to put this to my larger packing cube test to see if this is something that I could potentially use for minimal travel. So I have my double-sided and compressible packing cube here that I use in a lot of my travel bag videos, and I can toss that in there. You can see that it fits very comfortably, and there's still some leftover space, so it doesn't take up the full volume. So I could toss in something like my Air Dot Kit, and then I could easily use this for at least a longer weekend of travel. So really love the versatility by this sort of simple compartment. You can close this up, and then you have something you can carry on to pretty much any airline very easily. And then the last thing that we're going to take a look at in this main area is the laptop compartment. So this does have a laptop sleeve that is slightly padded. It's actually pretty thin compared to some of the other laptop sleeves that we've seen on the channel. One thing that I did like about this is that it is a little bit suspended off the bottom of the ground to help add that extra bit of protection if you happen to place your bag down. but I would have liked to have seen this be just a little bit more rigid, especially from Timbuk2. In the past, their bags have always had such great laptop protection, so this is just a little bit flimsy. And so according to the site, this is meant to hold up to a 13-inch laptop. That's what I currently have in here, is my 13-inch MacBook Pro. You can see that there's some leftover space at the top, so my guess is you could potentially squeeze in a thinner 15-inch laptop, but it might get a little bit tricky to kind of pull it out, especially since you have this lip here at the top. But with the 13-inch, I could slide it out pretty comfortably, and so pulling that out now. Now the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside, and so this does come up a decent amount, but I would think that if you have a thicker device, it might be a little bit tricky to use this sleeve. It might just become a little bit tight or awkward to get out because of this lip again. But regardless, if you have a thinner device and you want something that's gonna help keep your device somewhat protected during the day, this does a pretty good job, again, because it's suspended and it's also kind of pulled away from the sides of the bag, but I just wish that this had been just a little bit more padded. But in general, just a really impressive, simple layout in this main area. Again, just a surprising amount of space considering how small the bag is, and just a really nice organizational layout all throughout. So if you're looking for a unique looking bag that's going to offer plenty of ways to organize your stuff and offer a decent amount of capacity, then the Timbuk2 Curator is going to be a great option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty good experience testing out the Timbuk2 Curator laptop backpack over the past couple of weeks. The bag has a great organizational layout, a really nice aesthetic, plenty of space, and it also has a pretty solid build quality. And so you can currently purchase this on Timbuk2's site or Amazon for about $100, which I think is a pretty reasonable price considering the features and build quality that the bag has to offer. But there are also a lot of other great bags in this price range that might be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of is the Topo Design Standard Pack, which we looked at pretty recently, and that was a really solid everyday bag. It has a similar size and aesthetic to this, and it also came in at a pretty close price point, and that bag has a phenomenal build quality, just some really solid materials, thick YKK zippers. The biggest difference between that one and this is that it's going to have a much simpler layout, and it's just gonna be able to hold a ton of stuff. So if you're looking for something that has this sort of aesthetic and size, but just has less pockets to deal with, then that's gonna be a great option to check out. The next bag this made me think of is the Air Day Pack 2, which has been one of my favorite daily bags that's been released recently. It has a fantastic build quality. It's very comfortable to wear. I really like all the organizational options and protection for my tech that has. And that one's gonna come in at a little bit of a higher price point, but if you're looking for something that's gonna be just a little bit more solidly built than this, and that's gonna maybe work better in a professional environment, then that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the Timbuk2 Lane Commuter Backpack, which is a really solid everyday bag that has a modern aesthetic, and that was a really great option, particularly if you have to commute by bike, as it has a little bit more visibility and weather resistance than this bag here. But that one also has a really nice organizational layout, plenty of protection for your tech, and if you have a little bit of a higher budget and you're looking for something that's going to be just a little bit more reliable outdoors, then that's going to be a great option to take a look at as well. And then if you like a bag that has a ton of great organizational pockets and you have a little bit of a higher budget, then the last bag that I'll mention here is the Tom Bin Cynic 22, which we looked at on the channel, and that was a very solidly built bag. I really love how the pockets are laid out there. And at 22 liters, it's maybe a little bit bigger than this bag here, and it can hold a ton of stuff. And on top of that, it also has a clamshell style opening to make organizing the main area just a little bit easier. So if you're a fan of that style of bag and you're just looking for something that's gonna be maybe a little bit more comfortable and durable than this, then that's gonna be one of the best options to check out. With that being said, the Timbuk2 Curator Backpack holds up really well against all those bags, and if you're looking for a stylish and well-built bag that's going to offer a ton of awesome organizational options, then this is going to be a great bag to check out. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think of the Curator Backpack, and if there are any similar options that you think I should feature on the channel. As always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel. And if you found this video helpful, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.